We talked in the last episode about expanding your sphere of awareness and understanding how far out that went wherever you go. And I think many of you immediately recognize that it's not a constant. In the woods, by yourself, on day 3 of a camping trip, it is peaked, right? But rush hour traffic, you're late for fill in the blank, and it is within this little confines of your car and avenues of escape towards point B, and very little else. So it's a fluid, it's also a cyclic sphere that expands out and contracts in. Learn that cycle. There's another sphere, and this is the one we're going to concentrate on today, and that's the sphere of disturbance. Awareness and disturbance are intimately related. If you are crashing through traffic late for that appointment on a mellow day, you're going to be noticed more than anybody else. You're above the vibration of that baseline, which is probably 55 or 65 miles an hour, to your 78 to 82 miles an hour. Well, the same holds true in the forest. It's much more subtle. A quick walk is a threatening posture. A hiker is like Godzilla in Tokyo. The reason a lot of folks, a lot of traditional folks, a lot of folks who are trackers, people who spend a lot of time in the woods, recommend going in soft-soled shoes or even bare feet is because, one, it slows you down, but two, it gives you more information through the soles of your feet, sure, but in that slowing down, nobody wants to stub their toe, so they're looking, but they don't want to sacrifice just staring down at the ground all the time, so now they're varying their vision. And everything around you, the slightest twig, the leaf brushing against your forearm or your thigh, is giving you information about black raspberry thorns coming up, or rocks underfoot, or slippery clay. When you're paying attention to managing your sphere of disturbance through noise discipline, and there's all kinds of great games, kids games, but just as fun as an adult, to play with your loved ones, your family, your community, where maybe they're blindfolded and sitting with a shoe from each participant all around them, and they have to start at their other shoe 50 yards away and sneak in, grab their shoe, and bring it back to the shoe they started at without being heard. And if you're the one blindfolded, you could scoop the back of your ears to make deer ears, right, to amplify the ability to hear, and just point at the person. This teaches so much, to listen for the slight crunching of leaf litter underfoot, to be aware of how easy it is to hear somebody who thinks they're walking quietly, or how hard it is if you use the landscape to your advantage. The funny thing is if you're by yourself and you're managing your disturbance bubble, for instance, I don't want that bird to alarm, so I'm going to round my shoulders, look away in wide-angle vision, and maybe even nibble on a balsam fir green shoot coming out, right? I might pay attention to the clouds. I'm doing everything I can to keep my mind from fixating on the thought, I hope I don't alarm that bird, because now you're going to alarm that bird. What's the saying? Worry is praying for what you don't want. So you have to jujitsu this thing, this overdeveloped, spoiled brat, into being your ally. If you can't quiet it, give it a job to do. And one of the most valuable jobs in both expanding your awareness sphere and contracting your sphere of disturbance is to monitor and bring that sphere of disturbance in. Oh, one last piece, probably the most important piece to all of the techniques that you'll be working on to minimize your sphere of disturbance, is bring up that childlike sense of joy and play, and accompany it with gratitude. When you're out there moving slow and being aware and bringing in that crashy self, staying to the shadows, leaning against trees to avoid silhouetting, Taking 3 to 5 very slow, fluid steps before pausing just to breathe in the quality of the air and appreciate the stars or the clouds or the tapestry of green or the patterns in the human as well as in the natural world. Getting into that flow with thankfulness is going to accelerate your results. I know it sounds a little woo-woo, but there's something about, I don't know what, body language. Um, you can take it where you want, but there's something to internalizing an emotional baseline that is more helpful at these things than adopting the look at the watch, I'm late, because that's it's destructive to the process we're trying to encourage with, again, increased awareness for the security and safety of yourself and your loved ones. Thanks for sticking with us through the episodes. And if you've missed any, please go back. They complement each other up to this point. See you on the trail.